on the Weather Channel. Now, your local on the 8s.
Currently in your area, 82 degrees under fair skies. The National Weather Service has issued a weather bulletin. Here's our local Doppler radar. Your forecast. Your extended forecast.
Hey, welcome back to Weather Center. I'm Paul Goodlow along with Nicole Mitchell, and our widespread heat continues to grip the South, making for some dangerous conditions.
In fact, in Memphis, Tennessee, we have now reported the 10th heat-related death today. And also, moving to Texas, road crews, they're scrambling to repair Highway 377 in Fort Worth. Officials say heat has caused part of the road to buckle, and the Electrical Reliability Council of Texas says the state set a record because of the electricity demand today due to all those soaring temperatures. So, for a look at whether there is any relief in that forecast, here's Paul.
Well, you know what? It's summertime. It is still going to be hot, but we're going to take the edge off the heat. And also, even that edge will only come off for a few days. So jump on it while you can. Get some yard work done. Because look at the highs today. This is the numbers above average you were here. See all the yellows and the positive numbers. 10, 11, 12 degrees above average. And that takes you into that 99, 100, 105 range. Once again, the good news is Memphis only 104. You were 107 yesterday. So yes, we are cooling down, but you're still well above average. Average this time of the year is in the lower 90s. We will be getting there, but we still have to get through your Thursday, and that means another day across Texas, the southern plains into Louisiana, Memphis, flirting with more records. And it's not just here, it's the entire southeast. With that humidity, it makes it even feeling warmer. But even without that, our air temperatures getting in the upper 90s and back above 100 degrees. But there is some relief on the horizon temporarily. So we have a cold front, which will be cooling down the Midwest, so St. Louis and Kansas City back to about average, but we're still above average in Oklahoma City, Little Rock, even Nashville. That's for your Thursday. Front gets closer, some cooler, drier air comes in, relatively cooler air comes in, and that keeps us at average in Kansas City and St. Louis. But now Oklahoma City, Little Rock, and even Nashville, temperatures only 1 or 2 degrees above average, but you can see the average is still pretty warm for this time of the year. So like I said, just the edge coming off, but we will warm up as we head towards next week. Nicole?
In recent years, New Orleans has dealt with Katrina, the fallout from the Gulf oil disaster, and even the country's rough economic times. But tonight, we're talking about a new study that shows the people in the Big Easy, well, we already kind of knew this, they're resilient. Julie Martin is in the Satellite Center with the story.
Well, you might call it a Katrina report card. The Brookings Institution, a nonprofit that deals with public policy, took a look at the major issues plaguing the city since the hurricane. While it is a mixed bag, the group discovered in some areas the city is actually doing better than before. Despite dealing with huge hurdles like the recession and the oil spill disaster, the greater New Orleans area has gotten back 90% of its pre-Katrina population and 85% of its jobs. While poverty remains high in the city at 23%, it's still at its lowest rate since 1979. Now, the group did find some economic trends troublesome. The region still relies heavily on tourism, oil and gas, and shipping for revenue. All were considered struggling industries, which could be further impacted by the spill. And the number of college-educated workers in the area hasn't risen in New Orleans since 2000, making for a relatively small educated workforce. The group also found New Orleans residents are in general experiencing a better quality of life than they were 5 years ago. Key reforms include an overhaul in the public school system, a new health care system, and extensive neighborhood redevelopment. However, there's still work to be done in other areas. The cost of housing is still substantially higher than national comparisons, and crime rates have risen in the city since Katrina but declined in the rest of the metro area. The point of the report to understand the progress to date and the possibilities for the future. The authors say one thing it certainly proves is that New Orleanians are resilient. In the Satellite Center, I'm Julie Martin, the Weather Channel.
Well, fire officials in Oregon say a wildfire near Sisters is about 20% contained. Low humidity and afternoon winds threaten to make the fire potentially destructive. The fire is estimated to have already burned about 4,200 acres. And authorities say only 4 to 6 homes were under mandatory evacuation orders. The ground crews plan to continue to build fire lines. And while Oregon is dry, it doesn't mean the entire West is dry. Here's Nicole with a look at the radar.
We do have still that monsoon moisture we've been talking about recently, and especially tonight, parts of Colorado dealing with this. Places like Pueblo, we've had the rain showers on and off, and also into Utah, Moab, for example. Otherwise, most of the region is fairly dry out here, but watch the Four Corners region through the next few days for more of this moisture. And with the rain that's come down tonight, I mentioned Moab, but you can kind of see how some of these showers have lined up a little bit. Enough moisture, and then you add in some of the terrain that we have flash flood warnings for San Juan and Graham counties in the states, and so definitely watch out some of those areas. If you're driving, you don't know how deep the water is, be certainly very careful of all of that. Here's a forecast for the next couple days. So similar areas with a heavier rain, parts of Colorado, for example, could get under that, and you can even see the little area red in the eastern portion of the state where we could have some stronger storms. So Denver, 84 degrees with the thunderstorms. If you want the more comfortable weather, Seattle's been looking just gorgeous, 81 degrees and sunshine in that forecast. Now, as we follow this into the Friday forecast, the region dries out a little. We will see somewhere like Billings, though, at 93, so still a lot of warmth in this forecast with the exception of the coastline. Paul?
Well, coming up, we're taking an in-depth look at the 2010 hurricane season as we get ready to enter the peak. And the Weather Channel welcomed his very special guest today. See what happens when Big Forbes meets Mini Forbes.
How about we open up a whole can